2NURFM.com, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.
And I'm pleased to welcome to the studio my very first guest this morning from the University of Newcastle, Visionary Biophysicist Dr. Gary Ellam. Good morning and welcome along.
Good morning to you.
We're having a chat about your involvement with the Design Interactive Technology and Green Tech Festival, which will be underway in our area until October 5 at Newcastle City Hall. You are one of the presenters and you're presenting a very interesting topic.
Yeah, so main 2 days are Thursday and Friday, and so I'll be presenting halfway through about lunchtime tomorrow. And my topic is, can we kill the electric car, but for something better?
It's an interesting topic. It's got us buzzing around the building here. Todd's thinking, what are you going to kill it off for? We only just got the electric car. We're excited to have it. We're trying to embrace it. But I think we're sort of taking the way your topic is a little bit different.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a play on words in a way. I've got to say that I think electric cars are absolutely fantastic. In fact, I helped to run the Hunter Valley Electric Vehicle Festival, so I'm obviously a bit of a fan of going electric. There's no issue there. The thing is that we actually call the Hunter Valley Electric Vehicle Festival, not Car Festival. So for New South Wales, what we do is do a bunch of strategic sort of thinking behind the scenes to say, the electric car is, of course, fantastic, but does it give us some fundamental new capability that we don't currently have? And if it doesn't, is there some better way of thinking about it? So one of the issues for New South Wales is that we have a transport system which is mainly based on the private passenger car. So it's the thing that provides us all the connectivity that we need on a day-to-day basis. 85% of trips are done by the private passenger car in the Hunter.
Oh yeah.
It's the core of our transport system. The only issue is that in New South Wales we don't actually build cars and we don't actually have any oil. So that actually means that to run our car system costs the state about $16 billion a year in imports. So that's the same scale as our coal export sector. So it's the biggest chunk in our balance of trade deficit in New South Wales, and sort of there's this strategic leakage in the economy which actually undermines all other value-adding activities in the state.
Gary, if we lean on that term of vehicle rather than car, as an umbrella, what can come under vehicle? Yeah,
so I wouldn't say there's actually the car itself is a fantastic bit of gear. It's designed for the job. We've got a fantastic road network that connects everybody together. The issue is that the way we actually own and run the car is very poor use of capital, is a good way of putting it. So if you own a private passenger car, the car's probably active maybe 5% of the time. So 95% of the time, you've got all that capital you invest in the car that's basically doing nothing. It's not very capital effective. So in business, we call that waste. so the trick is to say, if you want to actually reduce that $16 billion worth of deficit, you've got to work out how to use something like a car much more effectively. And that means actually working out how to share the ownership of the car and to share the riding in the car. And there are lots of schemes starting up around car sharing. So a company like GoGet are actually a car hire company that's always been a car sharing. Taxis are a good example of car sharing that we use on a day-to-day basis. So there's all these different forms of how to share the car. The hassle is at the moment all of those are slightly too expensive or not convenient enough to actually convince us to give up ownership of our private passenger car. We own a private passenger car because it fills a gap that nobody else is filling in terms of convenience and service. But what we've been looking at is a suite of new technologies coming on board that let us think about how we might run that in a different way. And those really are digital technologies. That's really about automation, how to get an autonomous car. Once you have an autonomous car, that lets you think about car sharing and ride sharing in a completely different way, in a way that competes with the private passenger car in terms of convenience, but you don't have to own the car.
Gary, are there any other countries leading the way in offering other options like these?
So there's certainly most of the technology in terms of developing the autonomous vehicle is happening overseas. So the US is a big example. There's 3 states now in the US that actually have laws that allow an autonomous vehicle to drive on the road in traffic, which is kind of interesting. So there's and all the major auto manufacturers, so the Toyotas, the Mercedes, of this world have autonomous vehicle programs, Nissan as well. And Google has a big autonomous vehicle program. So these guys are all working on how to get a car that can work on the road in traffic and drive itself. Wow. The interesting thing is when that happens, and the Google's already racked up about 500,000 miles on road time in autonomous cars with the car driving itself. So this is happening as we speak. They're already driving around in places. The interesting thing that we look at is how you might use that new technology to change the business case around the car and allow us to close off some of those issues around imports for New South Wales.
Are we quick to embrace this, or are we still dragging our knuckles, and we could be like 20 years away from something like this happening in our country?
Any new technology is always interesting. I mean, so how quickly it comes aboard. Now, because we don't have a lot of background in manufacturing private passenger cars in New South Wales, and it's in serious decline in other parts of Australia. We only produce about 20% of the vehicles that we drive on the road now domestically. There's not a big push for R&D at that sort of level. So we're bringing in technology from overseas when it occurs. So, this is, automatic stopping technology and lane following technology, that sort of stuff, automatic park technology, those sort of components that are part of that autonomous car are being brought in. But we don't have hugely well funded programs in Australia to run these things. That being said, in other sectors, mining, for example, we've got a lot of autonomous vehicles coming into the mining sector. In WA, the Rio Tinto system is a train system is all autonomous. It's all run from Perth. So in some places where we can bring this on relatively quickly, we are.
Yeah.
So it's really about thinking a little bit further down the track and trying to configure ourselves to bring that sort of business here.
Now, Gary, we're very excited to hear about your presentation and your topic. If we'd like to come along, is there room for us to come and be part of that at the Dig Festival? Are you sure of that? Or?
I'm sure that tickets are still available for the Dig Festival. So if you go to just search for Dig Festival Newcastle online, I'm sure you'll find it, and you can purchase tickets online.
And yours is tomorrow around lunchtime?
I think I'm on about 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep. So we can find out more details, or just contact us at 2NURFM. We'll let you know. The topic is going to be fascinating. Can we kill the electric car for something better? And it will be presented by Dr. Ellam, who's joined me this morning. So thanks for having a talk about that. There's more I wished I could have talked to you, but time's beaten us.
Thank you. Cheers.
But the best news is you are at the Tom Farrell Institute for the Environment here at the University of Newcastle. So we'd like to keep in touch and get you back down here again in the future, Gary.
Fantastic. No problem.